Today I'm going to show you how to make meatballs, Italian style meatballs. So the ingredients that I'm using are some beef mince. I've got 100 grams of beef mince. I have some Parmesan cheese, about 20 grams. I have some chopped herbs. You can use dry herbs, I'm using fresh herbs. I have some garlic, it's about 2 cloves of garlic. And I'm also going to make a garlic bread to go with that as well, using half a baguette. And that includes 25 grams of butter, which is softened at room temperature, sliced bread, and I'll be using some of that Parmesan and a little bit of those herbs to go in that as well. So I'm going to grate all my garlic. Some of it will go for the butter, but a majority will go into the... I'll do all the garlic. So I've already got quite a bit there. I'll just tap that in. You can always chop the garlic really fine or use a garlic crush as well. I'll just use that knife to get all that garlic in there. And I'm going to use about half a teaspoon, and that can go into my garlic butter. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add my mince. So that's 100 grams of mince. I'm also going to add about 20 grams of Parmesan cheese. The rest can go in with my butter. Fresh basil goes really well in there, and the rest can go in there. A little bit of seasoning. I find that if you use your hands, it actually combines quite well. That's actually come together quite nicely. And I'm going to make them about so big, so about the size of a tablespoon. And I quite like to flatten them a little bit as well. That way when you fry them, you don't have to worry about one side not being cooked. So there you go, and I'll fry those up in a minute. So I'm just going to put this aside and wash my hands. So the next stage is to sort out my garlic bread. Now, quite often, you'd cut your loaf and then put the butter in between and then hold it together with some aluminium foil. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a spread, and this is just going to go into the oven, open like this, and that way it should turn out really crunchy. And all I'm going to do is coat that really nicely with a generous amount of this garlic butter. So that's fine like that. I'm going to put that in the oven, 180 degrees, and that should only take about 5 to 10 minutes to cook. And while that's baking in the oven, I'll be frying up my meatballs, and it should all come together around the same time. So I'll have meatballs with the garlic bread to go with it. The next process involved is actually just cooking up and heating up those dishes. So we're going to start off with the garlic bread. So I've got my garlic bread and it's buttered up nicely. Now all I'm going to do is place that on a baking tray with some baking paper. My oven's preheated. It is at 180 degrees Celsius, and that's just going to go into the oven. And by the time I fry up my meatballs, this should be ready to go. So I'll just pop that in the oven now. Okay. Turn on my heat. Okay, so I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm going to heat that up before I start frying my meatballs. So there's the meatballs that I rolled up. They look pretty good. I've flattened them out a little bit, that way they're easy to cook all the way through and you can just flip them as you're cooking them. So I just want to coat that fry pan. So once that oil's nice and hot, I'm just going to add my meatballs. Just move them around a little bit, that way you know they're not going to stick to the fry pan. I want to cook those so they're got nice and golden brown on both sides. And then I'll flip them around and coat the other side. So we've got a little bit of colour on the other side. I'm just going to flip those around, golden brown. So those meatballs have got a nice colour on both sides. They look quite nice. They don't need any more cooking, so I'll turn that off. Take my garlic bread out of the oven, nice and golden. That butter's melted, it smells quite nice. That garlic's quite strong. Just grab a plate, put all that bread there, and pop those meatballs on top. And there you have it. You have Italian style meatballs with the garlic bread. Looks pretty good. Enjoy.